Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Worthy Worth It and Priceless. I am your host, Tammy Simmons. And before we get into this podcast episode, which is called God is Restoring You, I wanted to let you know that I am on all streaming platforms under Worthy Worth It Priceless. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is also Worthy Worth It and Priceless. The podcast is also over there. There's no video at the moment. Um, but if you listen to the last episode, you can see that I'm in the process of trying to get that together. But either way, let's get into the podcast episode. And once again, it is titled God Will Restore You. And I know I didn't even sound confident in that. Okay. God will restore you. I wanted to make sure that I was actually saying the right one. But either way, let's get into the podcast episode. And so, um, I was in the process. So I had blonde hair. Um, and so I was wanting to go back to black. Or not even black, but just like a more natural color. And so in order, like how high I have lifted, because I think I was like a platinum. I was a platinum. So in order for me to go back to black, I had to put a red color over it. And I ended up, going to the professionals at Sally's and um basically, they were saying I had to put a filler on to basically give it some more pigment and whatever to allow for the darker color to come on. Because if I did not put that filler on it, then my hair would have been like a green color and or muddy and just all messed up. So I didn't want that to happen. So that's why I put like a filler on it and all that other stuff. And what it allowed me to do was realize that is the same thing that happens when you're going through something in life or you went through something. In order for me to get to blonde, there was a process. And if you've ever dyed your hair, you know the process. Now, for me, I took the scenic route. And so I think I went like, I was going to like this brownish reddish color. And then that didn't work out. And then I did another color or whatever. And then ultimately I bleached my hair and then it became blonde. And then it was a pink. It was a lot. It was a process. And that's even just say if you're dating somebody, you're going through a process and then you break up or whatever. And you're standing in the middle of probably nowhere, and you're like, how did I get here? You feel as though you're broken into pieces. you know, a lot of your pigment is gone, like, so to speak, like the person that you used to know and all these different things. And now you have to try to pick up the pieces. And so when God sees you like that, he provides help. But the healing process isn't easy. It's still a process. And for some of us, that is therapy. Um, and through therapy, you get the language to realize what you just been through. The language sometimes is realizing that you didn't even know that you were actually in an abusive relationship. You just thought that this was just how this person was. You thinking you're just going through the motions. But when you actually hear someone else or somebody else listens to you, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I went through all of that. And you're wondering why your mind isn't, you know what I mean? Like how you can't shake this situation, you can't shake your mind. It is because now you have the language for what you've been through. But God doesn't leave you there. He also provides the Holy Spirit. And even in the process, He gives you a revealing. because now you're starting to see not only do you have language, but when as you're healing, you're able to look back on that situation, not to dwell, but to actually see it with new eyes. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I went through all of that. Once again, God doesn't leave you, and He's filling you up with what needs to be there. And He's letting the other pieces fall on the floor or wherever that don't need to be there, that don't need to come with you. Those old thoughts, those bad attitudes, and things that you had to do to survive, you no longer need it. And then when it's all said and done, He restores you. And the thing about it is, you won't look the same, but you also won't look like what you've been through. Because when you get to this next thing of God restoring you, you'll be better, but you'll also have that knowledge. And with that knowledge of what you've been through, you might have a little scars. That happens. You scraped yourself. Your heart hurt a little bit. So God had to stitch things up and, patch things up. So you have a little scars or whatever. But with what you've been through, you can recognize it even better now. So if somebody else comes around with that same spirit or that same pattern, you say, no, you're stronger now. You won't smell like smoke through the fire that you've just been through, but you're better. The thing about it is, God didn't leave you there. He allowed you to be patched up. When everybody else turned their back on you and made it seem like you were crazy, God was there to tell you you weren't crazy. And then when He starts revealing things to you, you realize that you knew the truth all along. But there was people that wanted you to remain dumb, so to speak, so that they can continue to take advantage of you, so they can continue to pull the strings. Now you don't even trust yourself. God is rebuilding that back up too. He'll rebuild your heart. Even right now, some of you guys, you don't even desire love or anything. And that's totally fine. When the time is right, if that is something that you desire, God will allow that to come back in. But right now, allow yourself to go through the process and heal. When I had to um, do the whole process of my hair, it was steps. There were steps. And then there was, like I said, I had to put the filler on, which was the red color. And that took 25 minutes. And then I had to wash that out and shampoo and all this other stuff. And then I had to put the actual color on. That took about, 35 minutes. So it's still a process that you have to go through. And God is with you every step of the way. And I know there's going to be isolation and all those different things. But trust me, you need that in order to heal, because you don't need everybody's ear or hair, voice in your head when you're in the process of healing, because you need to hear God. And a lot of times God is just a small, still voice, and you need to see what direction He has you going in. Because what will end up happening is you'll go into a totally different direction than you were even thinking of to begin with. You probably won't even recognize yourself when it's all said and done. Because the thing about it is, if people are sitting up there trying to control you, they will make you be something that you never intended to be in the first place. They will make you end up being something that you never even agreed to. But this is what they needed you to be in order for them to continue to control you. And so God is going to show you, show you what He intended for you to be before you had all of that hurt. So let Him restore you. It's not going to be easy. Trust me, it's not. But realize He said in His word, He will never leave or forsake you. That is not just something that we say, that is a promise from God. Let Him be your Father. Let Him be the one that is there for you, guiding you and keeping you. That is His job. Let Him in. You can trust God. I know you have been through so much, and the people who were supposed to trust, who you were supposed to be able to trust, and the people who were supposed to protect you, they didn't. But I want to assure you, God is not like that. Let Him show you His love. He always cares for you. He will be the one that will always be there for you. And with that being said, always know that you have worth, you have value. You are always worthy, worth it, and priceless, and there's nothing that you can do about it.